What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another jump rope skill breakdown. We're gonna take a look at some of the hardest jump rope skills that exist and then break down exactly why they are so difficult. Now in today's video, we're gonna go through actually not single rope, but a pairs freestyle wheel routine from Mike and Zev Troxter. So let's take a look at that and see exactly what these guys are up to. Now, both of these guys are world champions. They're phenomenal jump ropers, and it's really cool to kind of dig into some Chinese wheel because Chinese wheel is a very different style of jump rope, and there's a lot of nuanced pieces as to why these skills are difficult to complete. So let's go through each of these skills individually and look at exactly what these guys put into their entire Chinese wheel routine. So to start, they have an awesome beginning pose, as you do in a competition, and they immediately go into Zev doing basically an aerial. It's a different type of wind up to get into the aerial, which is already very hard. Now, a common theme that we're gonna see throughout this routine is that doing flips and body rotations in the air is way harder in wheel than with a single rope because your hands are doing two different things, and normally when you're doing a flip, you need your whole body to kind of be in sync for that skill, and everything needs to kind of flow as it normally would. And to throw one limb off of its normal movement really challenges not only your physical ability to complete the skill, but your mental ability to kind of dissociate between which different limbs are doing what during this flip. And obviously Zev does that extremely well here during this first opening flip. And then from there, he's doing another front flip, which is a great way to follow up a flip is to go into another flip. Then we see them do a switch. They switch places, and then Mike throws a release, and then Zev catches it. I cannot stress how difficult this is. Not only are you doing a Mick release and somebody else is catching it, but your hands are doing completely different movements, so you have to be a split focus brain, right? One hand is doing something to jump the rope, to keep the rope moving, and the other hand is turning the rope in a Mick release, which is, it's so hard to split these two things apart. And on top of all that, they keep it so clean. And then they follow that up with a turn, so kind of like that turn kind of acts as like a reset. In this case, it looks like they kind of do that to get everything back to where it needs to be. And they immediately go into Mike doing an AS into a push-up into a freeze. It's kind of, there's a really subtle piece to this too. If you go and look at the slow motion real tight, we can see that he actually lands the push-up in one arm and then drops into the freeze from there using his other hand as support. And then he does a turn with that and he keeps the ropes moving, which, I mean, let's go, Mike. That is some solid stuff right there. So then he comes up, he switches the handle, he kind of gets things back to where they need to be. They switch rotations, and then they sync up the rope, reverse the direction while syncing up the rope, and then they unsync it backwards, going back to the standard 1-2 rhythm of Chinese wheel. It's so hard to sync up the ropes in general because you're changing the entire beat of everything. It's very strange. And not only do they do that, but then they stall the ropes, which a stall that's synced is a little bit easier, but then when they go backwards, they unsync it and go back to that rhythm, which is really impressive, especially considering how cleanly they do this and how the arc of the rope still stays in pristine shape. Now, once they're backwards, they switch places and Zev goes into a master swipe, which is extraordinarily well done. And I think that what's so impressive about this is normally when you do some kind of a strength skill in wheel, because your hands are now going down, it tends to take the whole arc of the rope and just slam it to the ground. But when we watch back and look at this, we see that when Zev goes into it, obviously the ropes do drop, but Mike does a phenomenal job keeping everything where it needs to be, and they both still maintain control despite such a high level strength skill thrown into wheel. And then, they just throw a quick little handstand into an assisted back tuck while the ropes are moving backwards. Whatever, right? So good. And then Mike does one of the things that Mike does best, which is executing extremely difficult crossing skills. He has a backwards TS into a backwards AS in wheel. I mean, those are hard enough already in single rope, but he does it with somebody else helping to control the rope, and he still executes it because his placements are really, really, really good. It's really impressive to see them pull this one off, honestly. Like, that is really hard to do. And they finish off the whole routine by doing several different triple under skills while rotating. I cannot tell you how difficult it is not only to do triples, because triples are a 1, 2, 3 rhythm, obviously, but when you do it with wheel, that means you're taking off on a different rope every time. So they're taking off backwards, then it goes underneath Zev twice, and then underneath Mike once, and then it goes underneath Mike once, then Zev again, and then they both go underneath it, and then it goes Mike, Zev, Mike. So you can see how in this rhythm, different people are jumping it at different times, and the rhythm is changing, especially as they're turning around and then they complete their full rotation, going forwards, backwards, you name it, they're doing it. And especially with triples, the control you have to have is insane. It's legitimately so difficult to not only know what is going on with the ropes, but to still keep the ropes moving exactly how they should be. They finish off with a nice multiple forward, synced up with the ropes, and they finish that routine. So fun to watch this kind of routine. It's crazy that they do so many different things, because a lot of times in wheel, you'll do a skill and you'll kind of reset or get the ropes kind of back to that neutral position where they need to be in order to set up for the next thing. But in this one, they just do harder and harder and harder skills back to back to back. Shout out to these guys, because I mean, you saw it. You know why I'm shouting them out. It's really awesome. All right, guys, if you like this video, send it off to a friend that you think might also enjoy it. If you have any questions at all, drop a comment down below or hit me up on Instagram, Nate_KG. I'll definitely link up both of these dudes in the original video in the description below. All right, I'll see you in the next skill breakdown.